Here in our foundry, we have to pour off the dross from our molten metal. Dross. D-R-O-S-S. Dross. Dross is a very interesting engineering word because today, the average person might hear the word dross as a metaphor. They've taken an engineering word and used it to describe everyday things. So what is its engineering meaning? And once we understand that, maybe we can understand its metaphorical meaning better. Dross in engineering, particularly materials engineering and chemical engineering and metallurgy, is the stuff on top of molten metal that you do not want. It's that gross oxidized garbage that appears at the top of molten metal. So imagine you're heating up some iron, right? Because you're an engineer who needs to cast the iron or make a particular alloy, or you need to get it liquid so that you can pour it into something and make a certain shape. Well, while that molten metal is liquid, it's also maybe exposed to air and therefore exposed to oxygen. So you've got your liquid molten metal, and at the surface where it's touching the air, oxygen molecules react with the metal and oxidize the metal. And that oxidized metal is not what you want. Materials engineers might know that oxidized metals have different properties. We otherwise call it rust, and we do not want rust in our metals and in our alloys. And oftentimes it forms, this oxidized stuff or crud forms solid masses floating at the top of the molten metal, and it looks weird and it's disgusting, and it becomes an impurity when the molten metal solidifies. That stuff on top is dross. If it's solid, it's dross. And sometimes it's not on top. Sometimes it's mixed into the molten metal, and that's not good either. But dross is basically all that leftover oxidized crud and molten metal that we do not want, and you got to pour it off. So now that you understand what the engineering meaning of dross is, can you understand better why, poetic writers might use it as a metaphor? You might call bad writing dross. Maybe my writing is dross. I don't know. Dross. It's drivel. It's the dregs. Those DR words sound really negative. But yeah, when you call something dross, you're basically calling it the leftover scum that you don't want from when you're creating something. So it's kind of an insult. It's a pretty harsh one if you understand engineering. That's our engineering word of the day. Dross. Hi, this is Pius Wong, your host of this podcast and also host of the K-12 Engineering Education Podcast. That podcast is awesome. It's a little bit longer, and it's all about bringing engineering knowledge and thinking and skills to people of younger ages. If you're interested, go on over to k12engineering.net and take a listen. Thanks.